darn, I wish I'd recorded all those great drawing responses because they were so good. So I'll give you a moment I'll give you an assignment page to upload that drawing because we want to see it. We've spent 30 minutes on it. And thank you, Josephine. It'll be recorded. So
quick question. For the drawing, did you want us to draw the dress as well? Or was it just like the body?
I think I think your bodies are so good, I'd love to see the dress on it. So okay. Go ahead and put that on. And then I'll give you an assignment to upload it in. It won't be there till, I won't get done today till probably 8 p.m. So it'll be up there later tonight, okay? So this is what happens when you really think about every element. You know, first we thought about just the center structure of the body. Then we thought about the body block, the torso, the lower body block, the legs. And how many of you took the full 30 minutes and you didn't like go get snacks and start watching TV and zoom around on your computer? And because this idea of focus is the thing that's going to save you for drawing, is really looking at the details, looking at the face. I don't care if you put the face on, like give me the skull first. So really focusing on that. And if you think about, you know, spending a half an hour getting your figure and your placement and your body really set, excellent. And then I'll give you a hint. If those are really good, I shouldn't give you this hint. Do you want the hint? Yeah?
Yes.
You do? Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Okay. So if you get a set of really good figures, just like the ones we have on our proportionate drawing page, Xerox them. If you can have a scanner on your printer and you can copy them off, or you can use tracing paper and trace them and get them onto another thing. Or if you have carbon paper and you can put, you know, carbon underneath your drawing and you can draw on top so that you get your outline, then it becomes less stressful to just try different clothes on the body, right? Then if you like, oh, I don't really like that dress, let me get another one of these humans out and now I can draw on top of that. So you see what I mean? If you actually copy your own drawing and then draw on top of it, it will still reliably be your voice, but you'll have less invested because you spent 30 minutes drawing that beautiful body. And then you can just try some clothes on it. I'm always going to have you start with drawing the body and then trying the clothes on it afterwards. So, but you can also do that just with tracing paper. If you get a body you really like, then draw the body shape a little bit darker so that you can see it through tracing paper, and then just lightly trace the body and then draw on top of it. Let me show you. I think I have one right here to show you how that works. So you can do, here's a tracing paper. This is blank. I've just put them on here so you could see, but you can put tracing paper on top again like this. And then I could draw something different on this guy, right? I could draw, maybe I'm going to give him wings next time. So that way, if you can make a copy of it, then you have some things that you can really work with. But you have to make sure that the pencil drawing is dark enough. So this is just pencil, it's not ink. I could erase everything, but I don't want you to. See, I'd much rather see this stuff of, oh, look, here's where his elbow is, or here's where the hands are and other things. I'd much rather see that because I need to know, it helps me see what's in your brain. And then it helps me understand how you are seeing the figure. Martha, question? You have your hand up. That's why I'm asking. No? No question. It was just a random, forgot to take your hand down. Okay. All right. So that's why I want to do that thing about the drawing. You can actually draw your figures if you spend 30 minutes on them and they look great. then go ahead and take the time. And if you have a way to copy them or trace them over, something like that, then you can try clothes on them. And it's much less stressful because you've got those good bodies, okay? But plan that out. You know, how many characters are in Lion and Winter? Let's list them. If you want, you can, okay, sorry, too many thoughts. How do you want to organize the play? I know last time someone said, do I want you to do a cross plot? And after doing the cross plot, you guys did a great job on the cross plots for Thin Man. But you need to remember to write that. What is the event? What is that inciting incident for each scene? And then where are the locations for the scene? This is really helpful as we go forward because you know, do they need an overcoat? How much time do we have to transition between point A and point B? So that's really important. So let me go ahead and erase this and see if we can talk about the characters for a minute. So those of you who read the play, Cara, you gave it a round of applause. What'd you think?
And I don't know. It wasn't what I thought it was about, especially that I had no idea that, is it Katharine Hepburn?
Yeah.
Would do a play like this or a movie like this. But yeah. It's not hard to read, which is nice.
Yeah. It's not like reading Old English Shakespeare.
Right.
Or you know, all plays are dialogue, but it is not as hard to read for sure. I'm going to try and clean the board so that we can, maybe the marker will work on it a little bit better. So think about your characters and we'll write down the character names and we'll make some relationships. So I picked this play because you will draw every character and it's confined. This character, there's not that many characters, right? And this goes along with, you know, are we doing this assignment twice? Well, I've done this play twice, professionally. So this is frustrating. I don't know why I can't make the board work. Let me get something softer. See if I can really, it's like it's greasy and it doesn't want to stick on there. I'm sorry about that. So lion. No, okay, just one more second. Sorry, you guys. Matt. Okay, this is better. Okay, so Lion in Winter. Remember, what's one of the first things you do when you think about a play and you're reading a play? What's one of the first things you guys do individually? I think about the title. So who's the lion? You can put it in the chat. You can do anything. Who would the lion be in this case? Don't everybody jump up at once. You can put it in the chat. Who's the lion?
I'm just guessing because I haven't read it. But was it Richard the Lionheart?
No, but he's in there.
Okay. It was just a guess.
So let's talk about the characters. Oh, wait, I have 3 people that have read the play. So Cara and yes, Colby, you're right. Henry is the lion. Okay, and who else do we have besides Henry?
We have John, the youngest son.
So so we have how many sons?
3.
3 sons, okay. Can you see the red better or same?
Same.
Okay. So we have 3 sons. We have John. We have Richard. And who's the other one?
Jeffrey.
Yep. Jeffrey. Okay. So we have, who else do we have?
I'm guessing the wife, Eleanor?
Who is the wife?
Eleanor.
Eleanor. And Eleanor, what's interesting about Eleanor? Oh, let's not go there yet. Let's just continue our character list. Eleanor. Who else is in the play?
Philip II, King of France.
Okay, Philip or Philippe. Philippe and who else?
Is it Elias?
Yeah, or we can just call her Alice.
Or Alice? Okay.
Let's just call her Alice, or it's Alace. Okay, something like that. So think about those characters for just a second. Okay. I can't stand it, so I'm going to do this. And everybody will be able to see because I'm going to write with it. Okay. So we established that the lion, that's easier to read, isn't it? Okay, there we go. Okay, the lion is Henry. Eleanor. Jeffrey. Richard. John. Philippe. And Alice, or Alice. So these 2 are married. How old is Henry? about how old is Henry? Well, we could go this way. Geoffrey, how old is Geoffrey? Poor Geoffrey, he's the middle son. Richard, John, we know John is called, what's one of the things they say about John? You know, he's a sniveling, snot-nosed kid, right? So John is, let's just say he's the youngest. And how old is he? Maybe he's somewhere between 14 and 18, right? But Richard's probably 30, maybe 35. Geoffrey could be 25 to 30, right? And there would be a number of maybe people born in between that didn't make it, given the time period that we're in. What do we know about Henry and Eleanor? This implies the season of life that Henry is in. So if he's in winter, what is it saying about where he is in life?
He's about to die.
Maybe not about to die, but he's getting old, right? He's old. He's like winter. It's cold. There's not a lot of fruit left on the vine. You know, he's aging, definitely. And what do we know about Eleanor? She's older than he is. Read carefully. She's older than Henry. So that's a very interesting side note. And why would he marry somebody that's older? Because she had a lot of power. There's one piece of property called the Aquitaine that she owns that is hugely valuable. So she brings a good kitty into the marriage. And then she blessed him with 3 sons, which is more than many women could do at that time period. So that's, you know, he's very, very lucky that way. Richard does become the lion-hearted. Geoffrey, you know, he's always complaining about being the middle son, and then John's the youngest. All right, we have Philippe, and who is he, Sue?
The King of France.
He's the King of France. And how is he related to Elise?
I haven't read it.
Sister of Philippe. Okay. So, how old is Elise? She's about 23. Henry's probably 60. Eleanor might be 65, right? So Henry is looking at Elise for what? When we think about their scenes together, I mean, first of all, it's kind of creepy, isn't it? 60 and 23, so he's 40 years older. But what is Henry thinking about? He's thinking about this. He's thinking about, what can I get to have the bloom put back on my life? How can I be revitalized? And maybe she can give him an heir who would be even better than these 3 who he thinks are maybe not quite as outstanding as he remembered himself being. And you may notice he does a lot of roaring, right? He has a big voice and he goes stumbling around roaring about everything. So that's a really important thing to bring in terms of what he's like physically and physically aging. So 60 in what time period are we in? We're in the early 11th century. Doesn't it? There's a line about Christmas in there. We're in 1038, I think, something like that. I don't have my script here. Does somebody want to reference that and figure out if that's the exact time? Or I'll run and get mine. I'm running. So talk amongst yourselves about this play for a second, please. Okay. Right. Sorry, my as I remember things, I get numbers mixed up. So it's 1183, not 1038. 1183. So it's Christmas. We're in England. It's winter. So we have double meaning behind the play. The lion is aging, and we are physically in this very cold and bleak environment in 1083. So that is something to keep in mind. How are they staying warm in this time period? Where do they live? Do they just flip on the furnace?
Nope, no such thing in those days.
No such thing in those days. Correct. No such thing in those days. So we're going to be thinking about, we have a long, tall hall with big drafty places. You know, our dogs and animals are living inside with us. We've got stone floors, stone walls. You know, do we have window panes? Maybe you have a couple of stained glass windows. If you have a window, you have an opening. And how do you keep that out? You put on heavy draperies. How much light is there in the winter? You know, it's a northern climate. So like, for example, our climate, we have a much more forgiving climate and we have more daylight in the wintertime. But as you go further north, there's less daylight. So you might be getting light around 8:30 or 9 a.m. and it gets dark at 4. So you're living by firelight. And every time we're inside of a room, we're living by firelight, and we're living by torches, and we're living by other kinds of candle power. So that also, interestingly enough, that brings a warmth to the room because candlelight and firelight are really heavily yellowed. So they're warm. They have that great feeling behind them. Okay. Right. So they both love and hate each other. They almost can't live without each other, right? It is a love story. And here's another thing that we have to keep in mind. It's a comedy. So it's a comedy. And comedy needs to be shown against this bleak environment, against this sort of tragic man trying to regain the bloom of youth through a younger mistress, through this disruption with the wife. The sons are not good enough. Through all of that, we have to remember it's a comedy. So those are some things that we wanted to put against our particular design of this. So I have given you a couple of methodologies where we have looked at to sort out something. We looked at a cross plot. And what is a cross plot? 1183, correct. What is a cross plot?
Certain like key events in the story, maybe.
Yeah. So if we did this and we gave everybody a line, and in this play, there's kind of some important things that happen here because, you know, there's things that Eleanor is talking about with Richard that she doesn't want Henry to hear, but he may be right in the room next door. He's going to be walking into the room. So there's some things you may want to line out and see how that works, okay? Just because it will help you understand the play. But in this play, just wild guess, how many costumes are there per character? One. We do see Henry and Alice in their very first scene undressed. So then we would be seeing them in their camisa or their camisole, long shirt, underwear, whatever they sleep in, right? But there's no such thing as nightgown and pajamas and robes. It's really the clothes you've taken off and then the clothes you put back on. And often that's a big deal in this scene because then you have to have them dress during the scene. So everything, all the lacing and all that kind of stuff that happens has to be put on stage. So it's something you want to keep in mind. What other design tools do we have so far? What's another one that we did for Thin Man? You guys don't remember? So we did the collage. And the collage was a way to visually show the emotional content of the scene. And you can also show, you know, this idea of the juxtaposition of winter to love, the comedy. Always letting our audience know it is still a comedy, right? So that's one thing that you want to keep in mind. Maybe you want to do a collage so you can understand this, or you can get everybody on the same page. So for this project, you will be doing the 5 family, King and Queen, King Henry, Eleanor, the 3 sons, the mistress, Elise, and the King of France. So we'll be working on all of the characters so that one fabulous thing about this project is with 7 characters, you see the entire play. We get to see the entire play at the edge of this project, okay? So what you need to start doing now, and one of your most powerful weapons, your tool, your communication bag, is we're going to start working with research. We touched on it with Thin Man. So what's one of the things that you're going to want to research? Even if you haven't read the play, what's one of the things you're going to want to research about this?
The time period.
And this is our time period. Okay. What else?
The costumes in that time period?
Well, I don't think people are wearing costumes. I mean, what people are actually wearing.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Okay. So maybe some sort of whatever they're wearing, kind of dress. What else?
I mean, more specifically, winter clothing.
Winter. And what else?
Housing situations.
Yeah, housing. Before we get there, let's talk about the location. Let's talk also about travel. From France to England. And everything that they brought with them, right? How do they travel?
They had to travel by boat. They didn't have planes in those days.
No planes. What else did they do?
And they rode on horses.
They rode on horses. They may have some kind of rude carriage, at least something for some luggage, right? So we want to talk about travel. How does that impact everything? In winter in England, we talked about this last week, that, you know, it doesn't really snow. but it's wet. And it is cold. So what does the ground look like?
Lushy, I would think.
May look like it rained or something since it is wet.
It's going to be muddy. You know, horses are going through their carriages. It's going to be muddy. You know, there's no no paved streets. They might have a few stones here and there for some kind of a patio. Generally a castle. Where do they live? They live in a castle. So let's look at some castles. And here's a really cool thing. There's castles that still exist from 1183. You can actually look up a real castle and see what it looks like. Research generally, for me, absorbs several hours because before you want to look at the individuals, you want to place this play in a context. So this research provides us with a context for the play to unfold. Where is it? When is it? What kind of housing? What kind of travel? How can they move? Even when they move from Henry's bedroom down to the main hall, they're going outside. Very likely they're going outside. They're dragging across a piece of dirt. And you know, this is the time period where we have a castle where the nobility lives inside and all the workers live outside, most of them. But let's say, you know, we've got this. This goes down, right? And then this comes up and walls the castle off. And inside with these rooms, they're going to walk across here. There's going to be a well in the middle. There's no running water. So if you need water in your room, you go to the well or you ask somebody to get it and then you bring it back and you're marching across this dirt every time. It's probably 2-story. So if you're on the lower end, you know, there's probably a grand hall under here. And that would be so people can come right in and start dining with you. So you want to think about how are they living? And there are probably, you know, servants, people that cook, all those kinds of things living in here, along with the chickens, along with the ducks, the dogs, because on the outside, they could become attacked. So any of the smaller animals, there's going to be a stable in here. Horses can be in here. And often the stables are down below and you're living up on top, right? So these are open and then on top you have your more rooms. So you want to think about the actual living conditions. How are they living? And then this idea of, you know, just going from one room to the other, what does that entail? So I'd like you to read the play and start doing research on 1183. You have a bit of it in your book, and then see if that brings you to a particular painter. Does that bring you to a particular art form? So does it bring you to a particular art form? For example, when we talked about the Egyptian, we really talked a lot about vases, bas-relief. We saw a lot of those. When we talk about the mosaics that we could see, when we had in Roman frescoes painted into wet, frescoed stucco, which then became part of the walls. So what kind of art forms are available for us to look at? I touched on one of those, but I'd like you to find, you know, like at least 2 resources for each that you want to look at that will help you understand the time period. And then I'll give you some information about how to, thanks Aldous, about how to put the layers on top of them. So they're going to be wearing layers, lots of layers. And we've already started talking about underwear. So in your, I'm sorry, isn't this the week we're doing chapter 3 on our redrawing?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so isn't that so super helpful? Because chapter 3 is the medieval period. And I want you to look at that. I put the Bayeux Tapestry up, but I want you to look at chapter 3, and then that will prompt you. Now remember, chapter 3 goes kind of a long ways in your book. So it goes all the way to the Renaissance. It goes up to the 1400s. So be sure when you're looking at what you think it might be for 1183, okay? Because don't get confused with the later time period where we are at 1400, okay? So look carefully at your research and then identify 1183. So for the last 15 minutes, I want to work on this swatching exercise, and I will put this in the, and it'll be an assignment. And the great thing about this is in your book. We're going to work with this picture. And I know that everyone has different kinds of swatches, and that will make it even more exciting. So you have that in your book. I'm going to put it on our page, and I want you to get your swatches out. That was one of the things that you were getting early on. And we're going to do a little fun project that will be an assignment, an in-class assignment that you can finish and upload. So I want you to do you have your swatches with you right now? Everyone's all set to go. And let's talk about how we can how you can iron leather, okay? So often when we're ironing, many of you probably don't actually iron. How many of you actually have ironed? Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. I know it is a lost art. So, but it is a really interesting thing to do, but it's working with a hot temperatured metal plate, and you are seeing it get hot. And then when you touch certain things of your swatches, you can melt them. So leather is a protein product because it's based on a hide. And protein products tend to be a bit sensitive. Wool is a bit sensitive. Wool has a tooth. It has a little bit of fuzziness to it. So if you put a hot iron on that, then it smells like burning hair. You're removing part of that property of the cloth. So you're going to work with ironing, but you can do a press cloth on top. So you can get a piece of cloth, wet it like this, squeeze it out all the way, and then put that on top of your piece of leather. And then iron it. And then you can manipulate leather by pulling it, and then you can flatten it in between something heavy like 2 books or something like that, okay? So for this project, we're gonna look at this painting, and this is a painting that's in your book. Everyone can see the Jean Van Eyck painting. It's called The Marriage of Giovanni. And what we're gonna do is, using your swatches, you want to create a visual representation of everything. We're going to start here. First, work with everything that they're wearing. So go ahead and get your swatches out. And I'm going to put my figures up here. So I have a page. You're not drawing the people on here. You're just going to put their indication on here of male and female. And then listing, I'm going to just stop share for a sec. Oh, maybe I can. Yeah. So you're going to have male and female. And you're going to add swatches starting from the top to the bottom. And this is why I said, I don't want you to use a giant piece. I want you to use proportionate pieces. So if we're looking at the painting, what I want you to do is look for something that will first represent the hat, that represents maybe the collar, but maybe it's just a swatch, right? And then can you see what he has on here? He has on a tabard that's open on the sleeves. It just goes around the neck, but there's no closure under the sleeve. And can you see something that's peculiar about that?
It's like fur lined or something?
It is fur lined, exactly. So we're gonna have, you know, here's his tabard. That's a pretty big piece of something. And then, you know, there's some kind of fur. Everybody has fur in their little swatch bag. So we'll need a little piece of fur. You can decide how you want to represent these things. But then he has an undergown. You see this in between the two fur pieces, something there. There's a sleeve. There's a collar. So his tunic underneath, the collar and sleeve are attached. But this does not look like part of this garment. So this is an undergarment. And then there's another garment. And then there's the tabard on top, right? So you were thinking about that. He has some kind of leggings. And then it looks like he has a shoe right here. Did I just make everything go away for you? No, okay. So he has a shoe right here. Okay. So I want you to try and take, here we go. If we look at this up close, you can see there's a little line that indicates a shoe. And check this out. There's that big toe, there's that angle, and it goes back, right? And then here's a sideways part of the shoe. See how it dips down? So there's something there. This is the other part of his shoe. Okay. Those wooden clogs were something that you would slide on. You can see they slip on very, very carefully and easily so that he can keep his soft boots out of the mud. See how they're elevated? So they are high up and you can see them. So if you want, you can just pull this up online or you can look in your book, but you want to make sure that you indicate those because those will be also in your swatching, and you will need as the costume designer to be able to provide for those.
So I just want to check, are we doing figures and then like putting the swatches on those?
Nope, you're just swatching.
Okay. And then we're going to take a picture of this and then like send it to you?
Yeah,
okay.
You're going to upload your picture of it.
How big should the piece of swatch be when we like put it on?
Okay, so very good. That's a really good question, Diego. I like that. So remember we're using, so you can start working on it now. We always use an 8 to 12 inch figure. And you want to have proportionate swatching. So if I zoom back out, the large part of this guy is going to be the tabard. So that's going to be a bigger square. You're not drawing them. You may not even be putting this fur, a skinny strip of fur that way. Maybe you do. So you have that. You have another piece that's going to be the undergown, just another piece of fabric. And then you have a piece that's going to be the sleeve. It doesn't have to represent a human. You can just do a bunch of sideways swatches if you want. Then you have some leggings, you have some footwear, and you have some poulaines. So tell me what those are all going to be. Everything is represented. So you're going to end up with a lot of swatches. How many are on this painting for him? Let's just talk about him. For sure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it looked like there was a band at the wrist. Yep, 8. So you want to make sure that everything is represented. This is similar to this, so that could be one piece, right?
Well, some pieces looks like, it seems like yeah, some parts of it are made out of the same material or similar material, like the hat and the black, you know, sleeves.
Okay, they're not. They're not the same material.
What if you can't find the right material for it? Like,
so yeah, you all have black.
We do, but
and maybe have something dark, and then okay. So hold that question for 1 second, and then I'll talk about her. So she's kind of straightforward, right? You don't have to do her hair. She does have trim in her hair. She has a belt. She has this thing, this sort of trim thing, which is the same exact. This is a situation, Diego, where it is exactly the same fabric as her gown, her overgown. And then here's that undergown. Here's this little fur trim, right? On both pieces. So I want you to look at everything that they're wearing. And here's a little piece. And then underneath right here, you see her little undershirt, her camisa, which would also be underneath this. So she's got this blue gown that goes all the way down, which we don't see at the neck, but there is also this camisa underneath that. So she has 1, 2, 3 layers, 2 of them fur lined. She has a belt. She has a, you know, right? Looks like an embroidered pillowcase on her head. This would be a part of a veil. And she's wearing this split sleeve, hanging sleeve. This is all part of the sleeve right here. Okay. So what you want to do is try to represent as best you can with the swatches that you have these garments. So if all you have is black and you have one black, but the hat seems blacker, or maybe the sleeves seem less black, then you can kind of draw on them. And the sleeves will be black, but they won't be quite as black, or they'll have some lines in them. And you can see that with the painting itself, while he may be wearing this kind of almost blue / purple, you can see that it's blue with red painted on top. So you can get your paints out and you can paint on top of them. What I want you to do is just do one group of swatches for the men, one group of swatches for the women, keeping your swatches proportionate to the garments. So that means the percentage. So if 50% of the garment is this thing, then you want your swatch to represent 50% of that. And just kind of do your 8 figure, just tick that off, and that will help you understand how much of some piece of cloth you should put on there. So the first thing you're going to do is dump all your cloth out. Then you're going to spread it all over. And then you're going to say, does any of this work? Okay. And then, well, my fur is like this, but I only have this fur I have one piece of fur for both people. Okay. And then you're going to do, this fur, but white and shorter or something like that. So if you change something drastically, like you don't have something that's kind of darker blue with red or purple, or however you can see this, then you can change it. I know everybody has green because we checked everybody's swatches to make sure you had green. Maybe you need to paint it down a little bit. Maybe you need to throw it in some tea or put something on it to make it a little darker or richer. Sometimes you can put a sheer thing on top of another color and you get something even better, and everybody has sheer. So I just want you to try. So I'll put up those 2 assignments of the redrawing and the swatch to the Jean Van Eyck. Okay?
Awesome.
So I'm going to stick them on there.
Can we see the picture again, please?
Yeah, of course. And I'll put it on your Canvas page, but it's also in your, oh, sorry. I did something. I went right to the picture without bringing you guys.
I'm looking
Also-
through my swatches and I can't find like a green color for like for the dress for the woman.
Yeah.
I can't seem to. What if you can't find the right color?
Yeah. What if you can't? What are you going to do? Oh, I'll zoom out. There you go.
No idea.
Okay. What are some ideas? So here's something that is really important. Try and figure things out. So Diego, I want you to just give me some ideas about, do you have a green?
I don't think so. I am looking through, like, I've been looking through the whole pile.
Did you dump it out completely on the table and look at every piece individually?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I don't seem to see any
Okay.
kind of green.
So you're gonna have to pick something else.
I found like best I could find is like a blue color, bluish color.
Okay.
Whatever.
And then if you put yellow on top of that, you can.
Oh wait, there's this piece, this little kind of transparent piece where
Hold on.
it is blue, but it has some yellow on it. And that's
Okay. Okay. So you're thinking about it. That's good. And then Kit, and then Sam.
And then there's this piece right here that has patterns on it. And yeah,
There you go. Hold on a second. I can't see what you're doing because I'm doing the share. May I stop share for now, you guys? And you guys all know this is in your book. It's page 65, and I will post this exact painting on our Canvas site so you'll have it there, and that way you can make it bigger and smaller like I just did, like this. Okay, so I'm going to stop share because there's a lot of hands and I want to get you. Okay, so hold on a second, Diego. Kit.
I just wanted to ask if so you want us to cut these swatches, right? I just wanted to make sure that it was okay for us.
You're going to cut them up
and then stick them onto the page, or just okay, cool.
Come on. You can ideally we don't want to see how they're attached.
Okay.
So if you're using staples, then you're going to have to cover up a staple with something else, right? Okay. So glue them on. Glue stick works fine, but cut them up. You can cut them however you want. Just make sure that they're proportionate. Okay.
Perfect.
Another question, or okay, Sam?
So if we don't have a color, like I do have a green, but it's a pretty turquoise green, could I just put like a paint spot of the color next to it?
Or you can paint on top of the fabric.
Okay.
You can paint over the fabric. And here, hold on. Let me see if I can get something here to show. I may have taken the last swatch thing. Okay, so Diego, yeah, so Sam, you can absolutely paint over your fabric. You can put your fabric there and you can say, but this color, and do a swatch of the color, but give me the representation of that. Or you can choose to change everything. So if it becomes more blue, then the underneath thing needs to change from blue to another color. So you can represent the color by changing everything. I mean, if we were going to do this, I'm just having you swatch to a specific thing so that you look at all the details. Okay. Diego, now you can, anybody else?
Yeah.
Because class is over. Yeah, it's in our book. It's in the labor book, page 65. That's right. Thanks, Cassandra, for putting that in there. So I will, Clement, do you have a question? And otherwise everyone can take off. And we're going to start doing questions. And Diego, I want to take a look at your swatch you're holding up because I didn't get to actually see it before, okay? You'll have to show me your video to do that. Okay, come on.
Well, Sam and Kit is before me, so they go first. I just wait. Yeah,
oh, no question?
I have one, but you know, they raised their hand first.
Oh, I see. No, Kit and Sam are already done. No, they just didn't put their hand down.
Oh, sorry. I'll put it down right now.
No problem. No problem. I can actually do it, I think, from here.
I have more questions, but it's okay.
Okay, hold on. I'll get to you, Sam, then. So Sam, another question?
Well, it was more about the drawing that's due today. So if you want to get to them first.
The redrawings?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's finish up the swatch questions first, and then we'll get to the redrawings. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Clement, was your question about the redrawings today also?
Actually, no.
Okay.
I kind of embarrassed because I
want to go to a breakout room? You don't have to talk in front of everybody. Yeah,
okay.
I can take you to a breakout room. Hold
Okay.
on. Yeah. And then I'll come back and talk about the, oh, stop. I got to recreate this. If I do it automatically, everybody was going to go to a breakout room.
I have a question about
Yeah.
the swatches. So, do you want us to like measure it to see how much
No.
you have to cut it? Okay.
I just want you to use your tape measure eyes.
Okay, thank you.
I want, how does it feel? How much cloth does it feel like that takes up on the page, on the guy, right? How does it feel? You don't need to get out your tape measure. It's really trying to see and understand and put something in your hand so that you're getting that feeling of it's going to be a three-dimensional object, okay? I'm going to go to the breakout room for a second, and then Diego, if you want to come in, I'll happily look at your swatches, and then we'll talk about the redrawing.
Okay. All right. Got it.
Okay. Okay.
Hi, Professor.
I'm going to pause the recording. Let's look at your fabrics and turn on your camera.
All right.
There you
go. This is probably the quickest you see right here.
Yeah, perfect.
And I can use this for the green part, you know.
Uh-huh.
And this is the transparent one. You can see.
Put that on top of the green one.
Thinks, hold up, like.
Okay, that's probably too dark. So let me tell you something about the piece that's underneath. That yellow stuff that's on there.
Oh, I can just cut that. Maybe just cut out the yellow parts.
Yeah, that was painted on that fabric.
Oh, it was. Oh, yeah, I can tell.
So if you want to paint your fabric, you know, or you want to just have it be, can you zoom out a little? Now let's look at your girl again. Here's something you could do. Yeah, you could put this could be the underneath dress, and then the blue one. Try the blue one on top of this piece. Your sheer. Do you have another sheer?
Another sheer, like another. What do you mean? Like another piece?
Do you have another piece of sheer fabric?
Which one specifically?
Sheer is the one you can see through.
Oh,
do you have any more of anything else that's see through?
Kind of. I think this one. This one's lighter.
Oh, that's not see through.
Kind of, but not.
Yeah, that would be. So I think you are on the right track. I think that this piece you're looking at now is better for the overdress, and then that piece you just put up there.
Which one? The one this one?
Yep, that could be her underdress, right?
Yeah. You mean the blue part? Because I already have it right. I already have it like right here. That I already have.
Okay, is that the best one, or is the other one better?
Let me see.
You have a lot of blue. Lay all your blue up and see which one you think is best. Because if you're making the dress lighter by having that lighter piece of fabric, then your sleeves need to be a little lighter. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I think this will work. Yeah, right.
Okay. So Diego, you know what? There's no wrong way to do it. You are going to have to make choices.
All right.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks. And Cassandra has in the chat, she found a few vocabulary words for this week's redrawing, but I wasn't sure if there were specific terms. Yes, I didn't put vocabulary words on. I want you to find vocabulary words. The redrawings are gonna start being more reliant on your research than on me providing everything. I will put some words on. Sam, what was your question about the redrawings, since we're into the redrawings now?
My drawing in specific, so I'd prefer to go into a breakout
room. Of course, sure. And then anyone else want to go into a breakout room?
No, that was just my question. Thank you so much for answering that.
Of course, that was very helpful. So you know what, do your vocab. And I think they're uploading tonight. So you know what, you can always upload them again, and then if I give you vocab words that are more helpful, then I will, you can upload them again. You can always upload millions of times.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thanks, Cassandra. Kit, do you have a question?
No, I just wanted clarification on that. I think I'm doing pretty good actually.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna stop that, Sam. Hold on.